We're making kind of like a thumbprint cookie with orange jam. So I made a batch of orange jam a little while ago, and it worked great on these cookies. It's a real simple cookie. The recipe came with the Spritz cookie maker, and you can find it other places. There's small variations. So this one starts with 1.5 cups of butter, so 341 grams of butter for the butter we use. And then you just mix that for a bit to beat it and soften it. Yeah, well, it's nice and soft. So now I'm going to add a cup of sugar. And we'll mix this until it's fluffy. Add a teaspoon of vanilla. And egg. And I'm going to scrape that bowl down. You can see it sticking along those edges. Slowly add the dry ingredients, which is 3.5 cups or 525 grams of flour, along with a teaspoon of baking powder that has been mixed into there. And there's a definite difference with butter versus margarine. The butter, we find, sometimes needs a couple teaspoons of milk, which is what the recipe says, but with margarine it rarely does. All right, I'm going to call that good. Using this tip. So this is the Spritz cookie maker I'm using. It's our second one. We broke an earlier one years ago. So I'm just filling up the container with the dough, and then this plunger part goes onto it. And then that just slides down and then screws on. And then a cool, ungreased pan. Won't even work with parchment because the cookies need to stick to that. And depending on which cookie you do, which die, and this comes with quite a few dies, and we have more dies that aren't on here from our previous one. So we have a lot of dies. That makes a difference on how many times you need to click it to get a cookie. So sometimes it's 1 click, sometimes it's 2. So we'll try this out. Click once, hold it for a second. I'm going to click twice on this first one. Well, maybe I'll tip it up and look to see if we have a cookie down there yet. Nope. Okay, and then lift, and you got a nice little flour cookie. So I'm going to try one on this one. Okay. And they don't expand very much, so you can put them pretty close together. Okay, so that tube gave me one whole sheet, so 35 little cookies. Now, I was going to take these and kind of press them down like a thumbprint cookie, but these look really nice. I think I can just pipe some of the orange directly on here without even changing that. Of course, you could use any jam you have. We'll do some of them with strawberry, but this is some of the orange jam I made. So I just have it in a Ziploc, and I'd cut the corner off. So I'm using this like a piping bag. And we're just going to put a good amount of this on each one. We're going to start out with 10 minutes at 350 on these. Those are pretty. And then turn that to release it. I'll fill this back up and do another set. I think it could have been a little bit, maybe added a little bit more milk on this batch, because that's pretty stiff dough. But I can never remember how much to do. Turn this over to this way. It's the right angle. You get the strawberry out? It has chunks in it, so no piping bag. We're going to do some strawberry jam on some of these other ones. Well, I guess this is strawberry spread, not jam. And with this, because it has chunks in it, I'm not going to try to pipe it. So we're just going to put little blobs on there. Wow, that's a big blob. They're good this way. Okay, and first batch coming out. Oh, those are beautiful. So let those cool for just a second while I finish this, and then I'll get these off of here. Volume of filling looks good.
Oh yeah.
Could they have had more and not gone over? I think they could have.
Looks like a little bit. They could have a little bit more, yes.
Okay, because I mean that would be, you know, the ultimate is to get the ultimate amount. The maximum before it hits the tray. All right, then we have our spatula that we use for cookies. It's super, super thin and wide. And then the pan has to be washed and cooled before you can put the next batch on the same tray. Otherwise, the cookies simply won't stick to it. We'll wash that pan, cool it, and it'll be ready for another set. So we'll see you back here when we get them all done. So we did 4 trays, 35 on each tray, so 140 cookies for that batch, and some of them got snacks, so there's a few less right now. Anyway, that's how they go. They're very quick, especially if you can pipe out the filling. Then you can get the batch spritzed out and filled before 10 minutes is up and ready to go into the oven. Doing with the spoons takes a little longer. If you had 2 people, you could easily still get them done each batch in 10 minutes. Or if you had a couple of people and a couple of spritz things, well, maybe even just one of those, but bigger batches, you might even be able to get 2 trays in at a time if you're fast and a couple of people. But it doesn't really matter. These are good. You can get a ton of them quickly, and they're quite delicious. And that's about all we have to say about that. Except for more filling is more better. I should have put more on these, but I was afraid it was going to go over the edges. Obviously it didn't. I could have put a lot more of the strawberry jam on. Very good. And you could certainly use some of the freeze-dried fruits to make this jam to then put on the cookies. And you could even powder some of the freeze-dried fruits and put it into the cookie dough because it's not adding any moisture. So you can do that kind of thing with them too. But that's all for now.